notification of this to appear on the screen. Okay, the meeting is now recording, so I'll now take proceeding for the meeting of the Licensing Committee on Tuesday, the 14th of June 2022. Okay, I can see in the room we have present Councillor Carmichael, Councillor Thompson, Councillor McGeever, Councillor Toner. And Teams, I can see that we have Councillor Cowie, Councillor Mars, Councillor Shearer, Councillor Gray. Do we have any other members present? No. And officers present today, we have Jerry Mays and Carol McKee from Licensing, and Pauline McCrae. Is Pauline's not joining us this morning. So Lynn Wiley and myself, Carol Lyon from Admin Services. I'll hand back to yourself now, Chair.
Thanks very much, Carol. Okay. Item 1, declarations of interest.
Chair.
Yep.
Thanks, Chair. Items 5, 6 and 7. I don't know the person, nothing to do with him, but a piece of information came to the committee with headed paper from somebody I know who knows him. So just for clarity and for openness, I'll declare an interest in these 3 items.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, we'll ask you to leave before the next item comes up. That item in particular comes up, and then you'll be asked to come back in one. Item 2, Civic Government Scotland Act. Jerry.
Thank you, Chair. So the report for this item is on page 5 of the members' pack. The purpose of item 2 is to further progress the fares review process in the Cambuslang and Rutherglen, Clydesdale, East Kilbride and Hamilton zones of South Lanarkshire. Members who were on the committee in the previous administration will recall that the committee met previously to consider the taxi fares review on the 22nd of February 22 and agreed that, subject to representations received, the fares review process would proceed. That means that proposed alterations to the East Kilbride and Clydesdale zones, as detailed in the report, were advertised. No response was received in relation to those adverts. In relation to the Cambuslang and Rutherglen and Hamilton zones, they were advertised on the basis that there would be no proposed increase to taxi fares. Now, again, no responses were received to those advertisements. However, one matter has come to light in the past couple of days, and with the Chair's indulgence, I'll give you some details on that just now. We have received a letter from an operator in the Hamilton zone. Unfortunately, was received too late to be included in members' packs for this hearing this morning. However, I will read out the terms of this letter from an operator in Hamilton, Frank Welsh, who states as follows: I'm writing to you today not only on my own behalf, but also in the interest of public plated drivers who operate alongside me at Wellman Cars, with the request that any decision of a fare decrease for general taxi plate holders be deferred until a later meeting. Since the last offer of a fare increase for general taxi plate hires in November, there have been many mitigating circumstances that have led myself and many other general taxi plate holders to change our view on the need for an increase to the fares tariff, including the recent fuel crisis, the rising cost of living, and as well as the trade still bouncing back from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, all factors that add to the burden on our taxi drivers. We realise there was no response in November regarding a fare increase by any plate holder in Hamilton. However, due to these changes in the last few weeks and months, I wish the Licensing Committee to take these issues into account before making any decision that could prove costly not only to the drivers as individuals, but the industry as a whole. I hope that you, the councillors, can open further discussions on this matter through other channels such as focus groups and newsletters, where other drivers affected by this decision can make their voice heard and we as a group can come to a consensus. This can only be achieved if the decision is deferred to a later date. So that representation has been received, which is in relation to the Hamilton zone only. If the committee so decides, it could be accommodated within statutory timescales for the fares review process in relation to the Hamilton zone to be extended and further consultation with operators to take place. That would effectively mean going back to the start of that process. There would be a consultation with operators in Hamilton, and then any proposed changes would be advertised. So it's a matter for the committee to decide. Obviously, that representation came in late after the report was prepared. So the report was prepared on the basis that the recommendation for the Hamilton zone would be that there would be no change to the fares. But obviously, since that report was drafted, further representations have been made. So it's a matter for members to decide whether you wish to proceed and finalise the review for the Hamilton zone just now, or if you would like to extend that further to allow the matters that have been raised in this representation to be addressed. I'll maybe pause there just now, Chair. I see Councillor Shearer's got his hand up.
That's fine. David. Councillor
Thanks.
Shearer.
Thanks, Chair. If we are of a mind to go back to the Hamilton zone for further negotiations and information from the trade, I think it would only be fair that that was extended to all zones within South Lanarkshire. I know we haven't had representations asking for that from the other zones, but if we're going to extend that courtesy to the Hamilton zone, I think we should also extend it to the other zones. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Jerry, I think you can answer that.
Yeah, I think it would be open to the committee to do that, but I think I should make clear that we've received communications both before and after the recent elections from the East Kilbride TOA, and expressing a degree of concern in relation to the progress of the taxi fares review, highlighting similar issues in relation to the increasing costs that have been mentioned by Mr Welsh in his letter. And I know that in relation to the East Kilbride zone, there is a strong view that the trade would wish that the fares review for that zone to be concluded as quickly as possible and without further delay. And in relation to the East Kilbride zone, there is a proposal that the increase of the average 2 mile hire be increased from £5.60 to £6, and additional increases as detailed at Appendix 3, which is in page 10 of the paper. So certainly, members can of course make that choice, but I wanted to make you aware that there had been a degree of anxiety expressed from the East Kilbride Taxi Operators Association. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, well, as Jerry has just stated there, the recommendations in front of us that the Clydesdale zone, there is an increase, and accordingly, the East Kilbride zone as well. Over the years, if my memory keeps me right, is that the Hamilton zone refrained from any increase for quite a long period of time, and I think this is the first time that they've really asked for any increase. So, anybody else got a view? No one else? No. Okay. Can we agree the recommendation that on one, the increase for the Cambuslang, Rutherglen, Hamilton zones be deferred? All right. And to the Clydesdale zone and the East Kilbride zone, the increases that apply. Have we agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
So sorry. Can I just confirm that you want to defer to both Hamilton and Cambuslang and Rutherglen, or is it simply Hamilton? Do you want to defer both of them? Or?
Well, I think it's under the one premise there that it's no increase in fare tariff for Cambuslang and Rutherglen and Hamilton. Any members from the Rutherglen area, Margaret, have you any views on that?
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute there. I know a lot of the taxi drivers are struggling down here to earn a living. How long does it take for the process from if we have to start it again till it comes back to committee?
Well, there is a time limit on it, and Jenny and I have discussed this, and we can accommodate it, and we will progress it ASAP.
Right, I'm quite happy if we go back because like the Rutherglen lump them together. We were proposing not really an increase anyway. So yeah, I think it should be relooked at because I use taxis quite a lot and the drivers are all struggling massively.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then can we agree with the recommendations? Agreed. Okay, agreed.
Okay, thanks very much for clarifying that.
No, but hold on to. Okay, urgent business. I don't have any urgent business. Exclusion of the press and public. Carol.